All right, guys, welcome to another edition of Up and Knitted. I'm your host, Adrian Babishoff, and if you're new here, this is where we help you guys live a better life and gaining more independence and freedom, seeking alternatives to the rat race, moving you from surviving to thriving and living life raw. Excuse the noise today, guys. It's a busy day, and I want to stay on top of my podcast. I'm trying to do them every weekday. For those of you watching, this thing hanging off my shoulder into my face is a shotgun mic, and I'm trying to get the audio quality better for you guys. But let's jump into it. Today's discussion is it's about life skills, guys, that are cast aside, that are neglected, and I think are very important. And I think it's one of my fears that I'm scared that a lot of these things that I see in people are lost, and I think once they're forgotten, they're very hard to remember. I think we're in a sort of debt to ourselves. I think that we're in some sort of crisis where technology is not meeting nature. I think that the two have their place and that they could do wonderful things with it, but I think that we're just losing our touch, man, with ourselves, with nature, with our children, with those around us. And that's the subject matter for today. The theme is, I can go on a lot of stuff, but I think I'm going to keep it to communication, because I think communication is one of the most important tools and features that we have in our lives. So let's start out with ourselves and what we can do about it. How many people do you talk to and ask them, how are you doing? What's going on? What are you all about? Most people just say they're 9 to 5 or a couple little hobbies and things like that. But when you ask people, are they happy with what they're doing? Do they know what they're doing? And when you break it all down, kind of reminds me if you were in an elevator and you both knew you were going to die, you know, or you were just stuck in there and just a complete stranger. Sooner or later, you guys would end up talking and everything would come out, because nothing matters, you know. You don't know whether you're going to live or die, and you're freaked out, and honesty would really just come out. What would you have wished that you've done for yourself? Do you feel satisfied with your life? You know, did you spend enough time with your kids? Did you do things for yourself? What do you want out of life? And I think it would take something like that to actually conjure that up. But I don't think we need to go to such drastic details. But interesting, the majority of people don't even know what they want. And what does that mean? What is that telling us? That's telling me, in my opinion, that we are very, very disconnected with ourselves. And I think a lot of this stems from fear of failure, and actually some parts fear of success. Because I think as much as we all don't want to admit it, just as much as we want something, we actually don't want it as well. There's some strange psychology around it. But I think that what we need to do as individuals is get back in touch, and contrast to popular opinion and belief, actually seek out our weaknesses so that we know what they are. You know, kind of like a superhero. You know, Batman was afraid of bats, I guess, and pretty sure, I'm not much into comics and stuff, but you had one of the famous ones is Superman with his kryptonite. You know, me, it's poison fucking oak. I should have been still on vacation and I had to come back home. Now I know. But no, I think from public education, from parenting, which we'll get into in a minute, that's where this stuff stems from. It stems that we have these subliminal and these subconscious voices in our head, like, you'll never amount to something. And I think for giving a shit what people think about you, the way our society functions, actually constricts us all a lot from finding these things and seeking them out. So once we know what our weaknesses are, we're then able to find what our strengths are. And the only way we'll find out is if we fuck up. We're wired to fuck shit up, and we should. That's how we learn. That's how new things are born. If everything was peachy all the time, we wouldn't have any of the action and drama that we also crave, I think, and need in our lives. So the catastrophes and things are actually sometimes very beneficial, as long as it doesn't fucking kill you. So go out there and fuck shit up. That's what Up and In It. I'm telling you, go fuck some stuff up. So the people around us, how many people don't even look at each other anymore? Of course, when you're a big, fat, bald, beer-bellied fucking Russian, 6'4", walking down the street with something that looks like a goddamn bazooka hanging off your shoulder, yeah, I don't think it's a social deterrent. No, but seriously, how many people that you say hi to and they don't even make eye contact anymore? And it didn't always be this way. In other states, it's not. There's places where I've been in Oregon and people waving at you, asking you, you know, almost personal questions like, you got kids, you got pictures and stuff, you know, and you're showing this little lady at the cash register and Walmart, and she's like, oh wow, how neat. You know, they're just real down to earth people. But how do we combat that? And I think that on my travels, like I did this year, I got free firewood from an Indian woman. She was the park ranger there, and she found a bunch of wood like 5 miles away and ended up coming back and dropping it off. And I mean, I went off on this lady. I told her how fucking people are pigs with their trash everywhere. It's in my YouTube video as far as me picking up some trash, but we go out in the middle of nowhere and there's no trash can. So I said, I'm so sorry, but I clean up the beach and everything, and I got a big old trash bag here full of stuff and I don't know what to do with it. She goes, I'll take that for you, no worries. And I said, yeah, I just sure wish everybody would do this sort of thing, and it's a fucking shame. She agreed, and I said it just like that. I said, I don't know what's wrong with people, and we just really connected, and we're humaning up, as my saying on my show, human the fuck up. And there's a lot of people that won't reciprocate. You got to kill them with kindness. And the ones that won't, just move on. Those are sad fucking people. They'll realize it one day when they're on their deathbed, you know, that what was worth is what was it all worth it? Because when at the end of life, nothing matters. None of your money, none of your power, or whatever your success is. It's mostly about the memories you have, I believe, and the feelings that you have, the goodness inside your belly that you can feel in your pizzazz. So, yeah, go out there, guys, and start practicing. I'll tell you a little story first before I go on to the next one. In Home Depot, and I see this old lady, just wrinkly as fuck, old fucking woman. She's fumbling through her wallet, and it's taking forever. And she just looked at me and says, I am so sorry. And I said, no, nonsense. I said, not every day I get to stand behind a beautiful woman. And she just smiled, the cash register woman. Some people would think I'm a fucking pervert or something, but the energy was there, and they knew where it was coming from. And the old lady walked so close to me, she was bumping into my hand all the way to my vehicle, and it was just a beautiful fucking thing. And it's just going out there and making some magic happen, dropping fucking love hand grenades. All right, I want to move on with our children. It's not our job to form our children, it's our job to inform our children. And I think this goes beyond children. I think this goes with anybody, like students, people you're trying to teach, employees, a group, any type of message. People are their own people. We cannot mold them, and the more you try to mold somebody or force something down their throat, I don't think it works. I speak from experience with this. I'm a no schooler. I didn't graduate the 7th grade. That's my American vocabulary, and that's why I have all the obstacles that I have to go through. But no, I think because I wasn't compartmentalized and had it shoved down my face, down my throat. I mean, you couldn't. When I was a kid, it'd go in one ear and out the fucking other. And I'm noticing with parenting with my kids is sometimes you just gotta let it go, man. You gotta teach. You've got to force them to do chores and certain things and brush their teeth, you know, to stay healthy. But for the most part, you ain't doing shit. We think we are, but look at the amount of kids. What the hell did you do when you were fucking a teenager? You know what I mean? I know I did I went the opposite direction, man. I went out there. I listened to a lot. I think that's the one thing I had on my side is I definitely listened, but I always had to test the waters, and they're going to test it. So all we can do is equip them. So yes, we're not here to form, we're here to inform. And I think that we should shut the fuck up sometimes and listen more. We're like talking, I notice that's my downfall, is I keep talking, I'm not listening enough to see how things are going, when, like the laws of nature, it's just like the laws of a child. If you watch it long enough and you listen, the answer will actually present itself, and you can kind of see the way it's going to form, because you can fight and try to form it all you want. It ain't going to happen. All right, let's move on to the last one. Is we're losing touch with nature, with the communication with nature. Science communicates with nature. Nature communicates with everything, and we're losing that. Let me explain to you about science. Any of you guys know about biomimicry? That's where scientists will actually study animals, plants, nature, like anything, trees, to figure out how it's working, and they mimic it through mechanics, through inventions. Scientists, a really interesting one, just found out that dragonflies actually don't flap their wings. They're not moving their wings up and down. Their wings are actually hollow tubes which they send a frequency in and vibrate, and that's the way they're able to fucking fly upside down, front and back. There was one in Japan where they had this ridiculous train that went like, I think 100 something mile, maybe 200. It was just fast. As soon as it came out of a tube, or as soon as it came out of a tunnel, it had a sonic boom, and there was housing there, so it would just be like boom, a big old noise. well, one of the scientists, I think it was an albatross or something, and also another type of bird and a fish, they studied how the aerodynamics of them formulated this little thing that kind of looks like one of those boomerang looking things that go on the back of a limousine, and they placed that right at the nose. I believe it was the nose or right above the windshield of this train, and just that little piece of equipment ripped the wind, cut it just perfectly where it stopped the sonic boom. So I'd like you guys to really take a moment and think that nature's not a boring thing. Nature is something that's actually helping science, medicine, I mean all kinds of fucking things. So to get you back in touch with nature, you guys, you got to be pretty numb if you don't feel this. And here's some recommendations. Get to know nature, study some of the nature of it, the science of nature. And it's magical to sit there and observe. But the biggest one, I think a lot of people, it's catching some heat now, some interest, is I think they call it grounding. Take your shoes off, step inside the dirt with your bare feet. Better yet, go lay down by a stream, put your feet in the water, and just lay down and listen to the water rushing over the rocks. I'm gonna tell you guys another story. I experienced this in Oregon on a property we were living at, and the water would run over these little rocks and it would make these little sounds, right? Like bloop, gloop, bloop. And every once in a while, it could be imagination. I like to think of it as some sort of magic that nature's actually talking to me, and your mind will fuck with you unless nature's actually, I don't know, it'll actually form words. And you can sit there and I swear it's almost like it's talking to you. And I think it's an unspoken language that doesn't need to be spoken. It just needs to be felt. And that's what happens in nature. I mean, better yet, this one's going to be extreme. Take all your clothes off in a private area and just lay yourself down in a river or like a gentle stream and just let it rustle your body. Talk about some meditation, some baptism. Let it just run over your shoulders and see how you feel. Close your eyes and just relax and walk away and tell me you don't feel charged. That's what I love about the fucking ocean, you guys, the negative ions, and it's scientifically proven, if you need all that just being in the trees will take your blood pressure down. So nature is very important, you guys, and it's a very important communication I think that we've lost, and we got to find the bridge, and that's the bridge. It's marrying science and technology with nature. There's a happy medium, I think, in our evolution that we're doing right now, and it's very important, the discoveries and things that we're finding from it. So I beg you guys to not trash it. Don't take a shit on it. Help us to preserve it and keep it for future generations. We need the earth, and the earth needs you. You are not a cancer. That's a podcast I just did. Check it out. Your planet needs you is the theme of it. I think that one came out today. But you guys, that's my message. I hope it finds you well, and I hope it inspires you and awakens you up into whatever it is that you're looking for. So don't lose your muchness. Carry on the fire. Human up. Live it, love it, own it, bone it.